Hello, 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 y bendición. Welcome to Pero Who Am I? A podcast about self discovery and the life of a modern day Latina with your host, Lisa Marie. Hey, hey, hey. Hola, mi gente. I hope you have had an amazing week thus far. On this week's Pero Who Am I? We will not be having a Spanish lesson of the week, mainly because I had the pleasure of interviewing, discussing, having a whole conversation with Misty from Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast. And what an amazing conversation that was. We got to discuss some of my insecurities. She gave me some tips on what I need to do to overcome my insecurities. And so I just didn't want it to be a super long episode. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into a quick little ad and then we'll get talking with Ms. D. Are you like me, always on the go, but just don't have time to sit and read a book or a magazine? Did you know that you can listen to audiobooks on the go? Join Audible and get 30 days of membership free, plus one audiobook and two Audible originals to get you started. Visit audibletrial.com/ Pero Who Am I to get started. So, guys, today I'm joined with Misty from Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast. I am so honored to have her here today. And we're going to do a little talking today about some insecurities. But before I go ahead and get started, Miss D, if you go ahead and say a little bit about yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, hi, everybody. This is Misty. I do have a podcast. It is Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast. And all right, I'm going to be 35. Not yet. I'm still stuck on 34. Lisa knows how I feel about this. I am a single mother. I have a teenage boy, young man, I should say, who eats a lot. I was just complaining about this today. And yeah, I have a career in healthcare, but my first love was definitely in communications. And so that's where kind of like I have this ignited passion with podcasting a little bit. It was once upon a time radio, but definitely podcasting right now. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
I thank you for coming. Like it's definitely, like I said, it's an honor. I met Miss D from Idea to Launch and with Carla Ramirez. So it's
Yes.
we've created a friendship out of it. But I definitely listen to you every week.
Oh,
I get the notifications and like that's my Thursday morning thing to do.
yeah,
I
yeah.
sometimes I'll wait till Friday so I can have yours and Steffi's at the same time. I'm the most productive listening to
Yeah.
podcasts lately.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
have to agree with you. I'm the same way. I've gotten so busy with work. I keep forgetting to like share people's episodes and posts, but I definitely I have my notifications on. I'm listening. So yeah, definitely tuning in. But thank you for that. I appreciate it.
today's topic, we're going to talk about some insecurities. On my last episode, I talked to Andy Diamond about boudoir photos, and that's something that I've been wanting to do. But one of the biggest things that has stopped me from doing it is my insecurities. I look in the mirror and I'm not happy with the person I see. And slowly I'm learning to appreciate myself and love myself. But you've always got that little bird in your ear that just wants to chirp and says, nope, that's not perfect. You're not right. So I had you come on because you're one of those women that exude confidence. Like you don't give a damn what anybody has to say.
I don't.
You posted a picture the other day on Instagram and I was like, that is gorgeous, but I could never do that.
Wait, which one?
The one of you laying down like side, like it was a very side profile of you. Girl,
yes.
I was like, I'm in love. I can never do that.
So I can actually tell you how that came about. And it's funny when I saw your question about the boudoir photo shoot and like photos, I've been wanting to do that. And I've actually expressed that on my IG lives. I mentioned it. I am planning to do it for my 35th. It's going to be part of my 35th like birthday gift to me. So but I've been talking to someone who does these things, and she doesn't live in New York. She lives in another state, but she does virtual. And so I've been digging a little deep into that. I would kind of prefer to have an in-person photo shoot to do that. But, you know, with COVID and all this other stuff, it's going to be really difficult to do that. And so I just been following her Facebook page. It's a Facebook community and it's a Facebook page. And I've been following it and I've been seeing her specials with the virtual. And I'm just like, damn, that looks so good. Like, it's exactly what I want to do. And so one night, right, I was just reading the tips. I was just reading her suggestions on how you can start preparing for the photo shoot, like, especially if it's virtual, right? Because she's going to have like this consultation with you, but you have to be like ready for it.
You got to do it yourself.
So I have a little tripod, right? And I have the timer on my phone, and I just, you know, I was just laying down. I like to dress up for myself. And I've said this too. Like, I love dressing up in lingerie and little outfits, little fishnets and costumes for myself, just to feel good for me. And that night I decided to wear a piece, right, that I purchased and I haven't worn in a long time. I only wore it once for a picture. I never got to wear it for anybody but myself. And I was laying down and I had not put on the top part. I only had on the bottom and I was sideways. And I said, you know what? I just want to see what this looks like. I've never seen myself sideways like this. And I was literally laying down, one leg over the other. And when I just extended it, I put the timer. It was just one picture. I don't have any like photo shoots like by myself that night. I have nothing of that for myself. It was just that one picture that I took. And when I took it and I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. And I was like, oh my God, like it just, I surprised myself to even be that comfortable I really just saw myself, not so much as my body. I just saw comfort. I just saw like a level of confidence. I saw just like this, I can't explain it. I don't want to call it strength. I was really like feeling myself, if I may just say so, at that moment. So it was pretty dope to see that. And so in seeing that, I was like, you know what? I kind of like this. Let me see if I can add a little shadowy filter to this. And there was like a shadowy filter and I was like, fuck this. I'm going to post this shit. And I put it as self-love.
Right.
Because I just really, you know, for you to say, oh my God, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it too. And I knew it was me. But I fell in love with it too. I fell in love with just how calming it looked, so confident. So like, it was just so deep for me just to even see that picture. So I just felt like I'm just going to post it. And I was hesitant to post it. Don't get me wrong.
It's a beautiful picture. And, you know, like for me, I don't see it, but I've been told I'm considered plus size. And so to me, it's like I see all my rolls. I see all, you know, where my skin folds in. And then it's like I saw that picture of you and I'm like, that's freaking amazing.
Right.
And
yes,
it's, you know, I've never done that. I need to. I should do it for myself.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, my fiance has gone where like he'll go and he'll take a picture of me randomly and I'm half naked or something. And he'll show it to me. He's like, do you see how beautiful this is? And I don't see what he sees. So I need to learn to love myself and appreciate myself.
Right.
So that way, you know, because when he tells me it, I'm like, oh, you're just saying that because you love me. He's like, no, like this is genuinely beautiful, you know, I don't see it. And
he sees you. I mean, but that's the thing, like, yeah, he could be in love with you, but he really sees you that way. And that's the thing, like there was a point in time for me where I was much heavier than what I am now. And I'm still a plus size woman. And it was when, well, thank you. I try because it's a journey. Like it's still a journey. You know what I mean? Like I still struggle with the working out. I still struggle with the eating right. I still have my days where I fall back on myself. You know what I mean? And then I have to hold myself back up again. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like back when I was like at my heaviest and at my worst with just like my mental and my emotional side of things. The way it worked then is like I didn't love myself at all. I didn't like myself at all. I didn't even want to look at myself in a mirror. I refused to take pictures. And if I would take pictures, it was always at this awkward angle. It was so awkward and you could see it in my face. It was awkward. And I don't have that many pictures. So I was very insecure because not only did I know I didn't like what I saw in the mirror, I also didn't like how I felt. I was feeling sick in an essence. It was like my health was being affected by how unhealthy I was. And then you could see it, you know what I mean? So it kind of just took this like slow transition of, all right, let me check myself. I started working out. I've lost 56 pounds in total, but I'm still considered plus size. And I still have more weight that I want to be able to drop, to lose to my liking. But I've come to the terms of the fact that I know my body structure is of a plus size woman, and I'm going to be a plus size, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay. I'm fine in my own skin. But now it's the part of literally embracing your curves, loving your body just how it is. It's about loving you, loving your journey. You know, I know how hard it's been to get to where I am today, and I don't plan to stop, pretty much. So it is the piece of loving yourself, because he loves you. He's going to see you with the eyes of a man who is absolutely in love. He loves you the way you are regardless. But then as long as you don't know how to figure out that love for yourself, you're not going to be able to see what he sees.
Right. So like, I think my biggest issue is that I can put on a little bit of makeup. I can get dressed up. And I love the person that I see fully dressed.
Okay.
It's that moment that I'm undressing. It's the moment that I'm completely naked that I'm like, oh my God, Elizabeth, you got to lose some weight. Like, Lisa, what's going on?
I get it.
So that's the thing is like, you know, if I put on a little lipstick, get my eyebrows done, get dressed real nice, I love that person. I think my biggest insecurity is myself naked. And that's the biggest hurdle that I need to get over. Because
so if I may ask, actually, is it parts of your body that you wish were different? Okay. All right. And is it something, because I actually dealt with that too. Is it something that you think, or you've tried, or even like done research as to how you can gradually change that?
Yeah. So I've done, so it's like, you know, my biggest insecurity is that when I had my first son, I gained like 70 pounds. Oh, and then I had, and you know, I went from like a size, I wasn't super, so weirdest thing in high school, freshman year, sophomore year, I was super skinny, size 0, size 1. Then, you know, you start developing, you get your hips and all that. So then I went to like a size 6, size 7. I was comfortable with that, got pregnant, and I went to a size 14. So I had Gio, I had Gio a year later after I had my oldest, Jeremiah. So there wasn't like that time to lose weight or anything. But with my youngest, I lost weight while I was pregnant, to the point that I got put on bed rest because I was losing too much weight. And I wasn't doing anything. Right. The only difference is that I was walking everywhere, because I no longer had a car with my second pregnancy. So my second pregnancy, I was taking the bus everywhere. So I was walking, I was eating like normal. So, you know, I still have my belly is my biggest thing. That's my insecurity, is my stomach. And so I've done everything, the research of, you know, how to eat right, how to lose your belly fat. But, you know, you can't center your weight, you know, you can't center your focus on where you're going to lose the fat at. You're going to lose fat everywhere. I've looked into tummy tucks. That's just, one, I'm scared of anesthesia. 2, that's too goddamn expensive. You know, I got a $10,000 quote, and I looked at the guy. I was like, you realize that that's a car? Like, that's a down payment for a house? Like,
it is. It really is.
He's like, oh, well, you could finance it. Excuse me, sir, what?
Yeah.
I'm not financing a tummy tuck. Like,
no. They have all sorts of financial options now to be able to look more beautiful, whatever that means to anybody. You know what I mean? And I asked you that because I definitely, before starting working out, I didn't like the way certain parts of my body looked. I didn't like the way, you know, after you breastfeed, and listen, you know, the breasts go down.
They sag, yep.
But even with sagging, like, because I started working out, and because there are certain workouts that I do with the arms and the chest, I've noticed somewhat of a lift in my breasts, and I have very big breasts. So I've noticed that. Now, the other piece of it that I didn't like my very flappy thighs. So I've worked out legs, and I still work them out to find a little muscle in them, to maintain them. You know, it's one thing we already battle with cellulite, right? I battle with cellulite, but then it's like for your skin to get real flabby as a plus sizer, I want my legs to look a little bit more muscular because I have big legs. That's not going to change. That's always been my story. I've always had big legs. So I definitely always wanted to maintain that. And then something that I do in the future, and I know you're a listener, so you go listen to it. I'm hoping to have a very special and specific guest for this, is my butt. I had no butt, like nothing at all. And it was only until I started, there's the piece of the working out and trying to lose weight. And then there's a piece of really working out certain body parts to have a little bit more here and there. Why? Because I was this close to really finding out that research to go get a fake ass. I've
done the research.
Right.
I looked at the Brazilian butt lift and a mommy makeover.
Right. And so don't get me wrong, like I'm always like, oh, I don't like my ass the way it looks. Like I want a bigger butt still. And I've had people tell me like, what are you talking about? You have a big ass. Like, dude, you don't need a bigger ass. Your ass looks nice like that. And I'm like, no, I feel like I want more. And it's because of how my mind is still working through itself. To look at itself the way it is, to look at how far I've worked on what I do have. Do I have a huge meaty ass that jiggles from side to side? No, I don't. But is there an ass there that I've worked on and I've built? Yes. I still need to work on what's in my mind still. Right. You know what I mean? Like I do love my body. I love its story and its journey, but our bodies are not perfect, even when we do work on them. So we're so critical of ourselves too. Like as much as I love my body, I'm always going to look at it. It's kind of like when you look at yourself in life, right? If you're staying like so centered on where you are in life, you're going to stay real stagnant. You're not going to keep progressing or developing, right? Right. So it's like you're looking at your body too. Like I'm going to be 35. In 5 years, I'll hit 40. I'm going to have to do something more for my body, for my health, workouts and things like that. If not to make an ass grow, then to upkeep who I have. Right. Gravity catches up to us, you know?
It certainly does. I mean, I look at my mom and I look at my grandmother and, my mother, you'll never believe her age, like at all. Everybody's like, oh, is that your sister growing? You know, I remember when I started going to the clubs, my mom was my hangout buddy. Like she'd come out with me and she would get ID'd. I wouldn't. And I'd be like, that's my mother. Like, what are you doing? So like my brother-in-law, crazy. My brother-in-law jokingly tells my sister all the time, he's like, yo, if I was 20 years older or your mom was 20 years younger,
he'll be talking to mom.
Exactly. And so my fiance, he's like, look, if you're going to look like your mother in 20 years, well, I'm good. Like, that's it. Yeah. So I definitely understand. Yeah. Aging, you want to stay looking good even as you get older. And my mom doesn't work out. Those are her genes, and
those are her genes. I
get some of them.
I hear that. I always say my mom looks great and has looked great for a woman who had 4 kids. And even at her age today, I still think she looks good for her age. So I remember, like, even with her, she would tell me all the time, like, you got to work this out. You always got to work out your butt and your legs, and you got to do this. And look, meet out here in the room. Just hold on to the wall and you do this. And I remember her always telling us that, but I didn't necessarily listen. And then when I got in the gym, and then when I got 2 amazing personal trainers that I've worked with in all these years that I've been working out, guess what? They were teaching me the exact same shit my mother has been teaching me all this time.
And now you're paying for it.
And now I'm paying for it. So it was not, no secret, but it's the only secret to it. You know what I mean? For the booty or for the legs. So,
right.
Yeah, I totally get it. I get how you see yourself versus how your fiance sees you, but he sees you that way because he loves you. And that's great. You know what I mean? But you also have to then really love who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I'm starting to learn. And I'm also learning that I can't compare myself to what society says is supposed to be the perfect, because I'm 35. So, you've got you're supposed to be 5, I'm 5'7", I think, something like that. I'm shrinking. So I'm 5'7", and they say according to my age and my height, I'm supposed to be 165. And I'm like, if I'm 165, I'm gonna be just skin and bones. And then my fiance will really leave me because he's like, I don't like skin and bones. Like, right. I don't like that. To him, I'm fine the way I am. And I'm like, I want to lose weight for me. And he's like, okay. He's like, as long as it's for you. He's like, it's not because I want you to. It's not because, you're comparing yourself to anybody else. It's for you. So it's like, I need to get that, what's supposed to be the perfect 35-year-old at 5'7" out of my head. and start doing it for me.
Right. No, I agree 100%. That should be your go-to why you start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the other thing. Believe him that he does like you exactly how you are. So that's the other thing. Like, I've dated men, I've had my relationships, and I've dealt with those men who have just tried to be with a plus size woman for a fetish purpose. I've been married, I've had my long-term relationship. So with those type of scenarios, like, I don't question it that they like themselves a big woman, because I've seen them also even before me or even after me with other big women. So I don't doubt that. But I've always encountered, and not just me, like, I mean, many plus size women have encountered some men who just go for the fetish.
Yeah.
And then you really have men who do not like without some meat on a woman. So you really do have that. So if he's telling you that, he means it. And that's great that he's still respecting that you want to, and I put it like this, lose weight, because that means so many different things to so many different people.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct. Yep.
So it's great he's supportive too.
Yeah, no, like, my biggest thing is I want to lose my stomach. I have they call them runner's legs. So my legs have always been very, very athletic. Like, they're super toned. I don't work out my legs at all. But I got calves size, they're ridiculous. So, and then my thighs are pretty toned for the most part. So my biggest insecurity is my stomach. And I'm like, if I can I don't even need to lose my stomach. If I can tone my stomach down some, so that I don't feel like my clothes are hanging over and stuff, I'd be happy with myself.
Got it. I get it. But you know what though? Like, just work on you for you and go at your own pace and celebrate every milestone that you hit, every achievement that you hit. That's one thing I had to learn too. Because if you're always gonna think about, oh, what society says, I'm 5'7", I'm this, and I'm supposed to be like, forget it. You're gonna drive yourself crazy. Your body, there may be a certain expectation of us, but everybody's still different, and everybody's body structure is still different.
Correct.
So
yeah. No, my newest goal is that I bought my wedding dress back in February, and it came in May, and I tried it on and it doesn't fit. So that's my goal.
Okay.
So now my goal is you have to fit back into your dress, because I'm not paying for alterations and I'm not getting a new one. So I'm like, it's not like I gained a ton of weight. Quarantine has been hell. Working from home is not easy because the pantry is right there. So whereas when you're going to work, you take your lunch, you take your snacks, and you kind of can teach yourself, all right, you're not going to eat out. You're not, I used to leave my debit card in the car so that when I'm in work, I can't go to the store. I can't go. It's like, shit, I don't want to walk to my car.
Yeah, that's smart. That's very smart.
So I would, and that was how I trained myself. You eat what you brought to work. And then I would have my little snack drawer, but it would be like crackers or oatmeal. Like, I try to keep healthy snacks at work. Well, at home, I've got kids, I've got teenagers.
Yeah.
I can't, we try to do sugar-free. My fiance is diabetic, so he can't have sugar. So I do a lot of sugar-free stuff, but I'm not going to sit there and deprive the kids.
Right.
Like, I feel like they still need their snacks. They still need their sweets.
Yeah.
But then I go and eat them, and it just doesn't help any.
honestly, at that point, because I too, like, I know I shouldn't be having them. And for the majority of the time I don't, but I also don't believe in the depriving. I don't believe in completely taking something out, because then this is when you encounter like people binge eating, you know what I mean? So that's also not healthy for you. You want to try to find what's the best for you, but also the healthiest you can, until you can still develop those discipline skills in your eating and in your meals. So like, there's certain things that I suck at, Lisa. Like, I will definitely go for a bag of chips, but like, I follow one of my friends' pages, and she's become more so like a nutrition coach. One of the tricks she always says is, you want something crispy and salty like chips, pistachios, and she always puts up that bag of the pistachios. So that's my go-to also. It's the mix, the fruit snack trails, the peanuts, the pistachios, like for snacks. Like it's kind of like you're tricking your mind, sort of. So yeah.
So we've been doing a little bit more like on the keto diet ish, because that has a lot of no sugar items. So for him, he's having a lot of those snacks. And so I've learned okay, I can't eat this, but I can eat that instead. And
Mhm.
learning to replace stuff has
Yeah.
been easy. Like I love cake. I love eating cake. So I
Mhm.
went out and bought sugar-free cake mix and I bought sugar-free frosting and I would limit my portions. It's like, okay, you
Yeah.
can have this, but you can only have a small amount of this because
Mhm.
there's no sugar in it. So
Yeah.
that's been helping a lot.
It's gonna work out. You're gonna fit into your dress. It's gonna fit you. It's gonna fit fine. And then the other thing is, one piece of advice I would give you, because I was so obsessed with, "Oh, how does my ass look?" type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any part of your body, what I then started realizing is really embrace the parts of my body I am happy with. You
Correct.
know what I mean? And not necessarily like talk down to myself. When you're looking at yourself in the mirror, as to what other areas you do want to work on, instead of looking at it like, oh, that doesn't look great, or like, oh, you need, like, don't speak so negatively to yourself, because now you're doing yourself more harm than anything.
Right. So one of the things I started doing is daily affirmations.
Mm.
So I've noticed that that helps me a little bit. And then like my alarm clock, I used to have like crazy loud music just so that I could wake up. So I've started doing like gospel music in the
Okay.
mornings. And that I feel like that has completely changed my outlook in the morning because I'm
Right.
waking up hearing, someone praising God or, whatever it may be praising, and that praise and worship helps me to say, okay, today's going to be a good day. So I get
Mm-hmm.
up, I get dressed, I look in the mirror, and I'm like, okay, you're doing good. Keep on moving. Like I get working from home. I was in my bata all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm actually getting dressed. It's like, okay, you got to get
Mm.
used to like if you're going back to work, even though they haven't told us when we're going back to work. But I want to get
Right.
myself into that mindset
The
of
mindset.
going
Yep.
back to work. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I tell my fiance, like, we got to get up early. We got to go walking. If we're going to start exercising in the morning, we got to start doing that just so that we can get ourselves back into the routine of us going to work. And I know doing that, that'll help me a lot.
It does. It will help you, because now, also, like you said, like, that's the mindset, but then you're
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself in a different headspace too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even if you're not going anywhere, right? How do you, the daily affirmation? So it's funny you said about gospel music,
Mm-hmm.
because my alarms are not the phone alarms.
Mm-hmm.
I set my alarms with my favorite songs. So I will wake up to my favorite song or my favorite singer. And
Mm-hmm.
so it could be any music, right? And then there's another night where I just feel like changing the song, and I do. So that's actually my alarm. So I could wake up like, in a better mood, or at least try to. Those daily affirmations are definitely going to help to like break you away
Mm-hmm.
from certain, the stigmas, or like the, all these issues that society poses for us, as to are insecure. I mean, we get attacked so many times just for feeling insecure with any little thing, right?
Correct.
Because we're just
Yep.
supposed to be strong women, and we're not supposed to be, get over it. Just
Yep.
go on with life. And that's not true. We're humans. We are going to have our insecurities here and there. You know what I'm saying? So I think with daily affirmations, that's a great idea. And then also, like you said, just finding the balance. Like, you have your days where you want to indulge on a cake, but you're doing it the right way, and then you're still
Mm-hmm.
finding the balance with, babe, let's go for a walk. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yep.
I think that's great too, to break away from that, and really like just battle out your insecurities, because it's a battle. You and your insecurities are a battle. We all
They're
have that.
huge.
Yes, we all have it. Absolutely.
They're a huge battle. And there are times like what I used to do. You ever watch the show Being Mary Jane? Where she
No, I
no.
didn't, but I've heard about it. I have heard
So
about it.
one of the things she used to do is she would have like sticky notes all
Mm,
over her mirrors, her bathroom. Like she would have
mm,
sticky notes everywhere. And it
mm,
was different little quotes or different little affirmations. And
mm,
so I started doing that. So I would put,
mm,
at my desk at work, I have them like all over the computer monitor. I had them like all
mm,
on my cubicle. And that helped me when I was really down at a point in life where I was down on myself, I was down on everything that was going on around me. And at that time, I lost like 35 pounds.
okay.
I've gained it all back, but I lost 35 pounds.
Okay, that's fine.
so my thing is like, I did it once, I can
Mhm.
do it again. I just
Right.
need to get myself back into that space of, writing down my affirmations. And if it means putting them on a sticky note and putting them to the mirror, putting them, to the wall, so that it's something that I'm constantly seeing. It's a constant reminder. I used to do it with the kids as well. I had a dry erase board in their bathroom. And every week I would switch it up. I would put a different little quote or a little Bible verse. And the couple weeks that I would forget to switch it up, they'd be like, Mom, you didn't change it.
What happened? Yeah.
So then it was like, oh, wait, it's actually influencing them. It's like, that was my affirmation for the week, but it was helping them as well.
Yeah.
So definitely have to get back into that mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, definitely. If it's something that you know for sure has worked for you, try your best to get back into the swing of things. Try your best.
Yeah. So what are some things that you do for self-love?
Oh boy. So definitely with quarantine, I learned how to give myself manicures and pedicures. But when that salon opened, I cried when I saw my nail lady. I legit hugged her after I took my temperature, after I hand sanitized, after we did all of that. And I'm actually seeing her again on Friday. So on Friday, I'm going to go get my mani and pedi. It's the first thing I'm going to do in the morning. I want to start my day like that. I'm actually on officially vacation.
That's right.
So
you're leaving.
yes, I'm going to go to Jamaica on Saturday. So I'll be in Jamaica for 5 days. And then when I get back, I do have to quarantine because it's, by our state laws, we have to. And so it's just the right thing to do, which is fine because I decided that during that time, I definitely want to do a lot more reflecting. So definitely to start off my first day of vacation is going to be the mani and the pedi. I'm actually going to go get lashes done. I've never done like the single lashes. So I'm going to do that. So it's really going to be like a whole day of pampering and then definitely running the errands. But I like on the days that, for self-care type of thing, those days of how do I attend to myself. If it's a day off and I know it's not for appointments and I know it's not for errands and I know it's not for none of that stuff, I will fit into that a day of workout. I have to go work out even if it's my day off. So like I'm trying to see where on Friday I can fit that because I would like to just have one more workout before going on vacation. And I always take advantage. So if I don't get my nails and my toes, my mani and pedi done because like it's not time, let's say, I will go get my eyebrows done again, which I have to do. I've been letting them grow in just for Friday. So that's also Friday. But I definitely sometimes I have such a like pampering day to myself. Before COVID, I used to go pay for massages, like expensive ones. It was so bad. Should not have done that. Not all the time, but I definitely would. I just forget like responsibilities for a second. Just forget, I love my son, but just sometimes like, oh, he was in school. Like I would go just be by myself and just do things just to breathe. I've done the movies by myself. Just by myself. I think people used to look at me weird sometimes, like when I would go in there. Tough shit. I didn't care. I would still go in and just how many times ever since you have kids, right? Or like you're with someone and usually do it for date night, but how many times are you able to really go to the movies by yourself?
Never,
right? So like I would do that. I had to learn how to do that for me because not everybody wants to go to the movies or not everybody has the time at the same, to coordinate to go to the movies together, even if it is just with friends.
Right.
I learned right before Corona, I learned how to take myself out to lunch and to dinner by myself.
I've done that.
I just recently learned how to do that. So it kind of sucked that Corona hit and then indoor dining is like still non-existent.
Right.
But I learned and it's pretty calming, like to really pay attention. Like I'm really enjoying my food here. So yeah. So
I've taken myself out to breakfast and like I've tried to, like, me and my sisters, we would try to have like a sister date once a month or something like that. But we could never really get our schedules aligned. Like one of my sisters is a nurse. The other one now works as a unit coordinator in the hospital. She used to work at Disney. So it was like we could never get our schedules aligned. So then it was like, well, I'd be like, would it be weird if I go eat breakfast by myself? And they're like, are you taking it to go? And I'm like, no, I'm going to sit in the restaurant and have breakfast. And they're like, well, it would be a little bit odd, but go for it. Like, is somebody going to judge you? Like, go for it. So I learned to do that. And you do learn to appreciate your food. And, my biggest issue is being on social media a lot. And I need to stop it. to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna uninstall it from my phone, so then I have to physically log in to get it, because I'm always, then you hate that, then you don't want to do it. I'm always on social media.
I can't. I'm so over the logging into things. I can't.
Well, see, I like that my phone, I could just put my fingerprint and it automatically logs me in.
So mine is the Face ID, and my laptop is the Finger ID. So forget it. I'm over the whole logging in. I just don't know about that anymore.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I'm working on, is like less social media, more being present, more being in, like even driving earlier today. I was trying to get on Carla's Zoom party for her gender reveal, and I'm driving, and my fiance is like, seriously, you're driving? And I'm like, I just need to log in. Like, if I could just log in, I could listen to it. He's like, but you're watching it.
While you're driving.
He's like, you're driving. He's like, and I'm like, just give me a minute. And I was like, I got frustrated, but then it's like I had to sit back, and I'm like, wait, like he's very right. Like he's in his right. Like, shit, you're fucking driving. Like, what are you doing?
No, I think your fiance was right. I think
he was 100% right. So he's like, do you want me to give you headphones so that you can listen to it while you're driving and not staring at it? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Give me some headphones. I can at least do that much.
There was so much talking in that. Yeah. But I'm glad we saw what the reveal is. I'm not saying it. Yeah, we can. Because, she has to release it. So,
right. Nope, not my place. I'm not saying it. I'm happy for her. I'm ecstatic. The tears were awesome to watch. It gave me that slight little bit of baby fever, but then I remind myself that my sister's about to have a baby in 2 weeks, and that's all the baby fever I need.
I still want. No, you don't. I want one. I'm do, done. But not right now.
No.
So this is how like where my mind is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I do want another human being because I do want another child, right? But ever since like I've joined the gym and I work out, like nothing will make me happier than to work out as a pregnant woman. Because I think some of these pregnant women who go work out, they look so good doing it.
Absolutely.
I'm just like, I want to be pregnant and working out. I want to be pregnant and like squatting and being on that treadmill and like the elliptical. Some of these women they do Zumba, and I'm just like.
And they keep up, and I'm like, dude, I can't even breathe. Like, and you're pregnant. You have a whole nother human in you.
Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal right now. Like, I'm going to be 35. So I'm like, even if I'm 38, 39, I'll do it. I would do it again. Even at that age, I would. No, you're done. She's like,
I'm done.
No, I'll leave that. She's like, no, Daisy, you stay on that side by yourself.
I'll come visit Daisy. That's what I'll do. I'll beat Titi from far.
She's like, no, I'm not doing it.
No, you know what it is that the kids are finally at the age where they're super independent. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to watch over them. I don't have to change diapers. I don't have to make sure that they ate. Like at this point, I'm like, if you didn't eat, it's on you. You know how to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My kids know how to wash clothes. They know how to clean. Like, they learned very early how to take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. So to start all over.
Got it. I get it.
I enjoy sleeping. I enjoy grabbing my purse to leave the house, and that's it. And not having half the house in the trunk with me. Like one of my sisters, we went to a gender reveal in June, I think it was. And she came down from Orlando to go to it. And the baby, she has, her son just turned 1. So he was like inquieto, like he kept moving around. So she goes to the car and pulls out his playpen. Goes back to the car, pulls out his walker.
Oh, no.
Pulls out the diaper bag. And I'm like, I don't miss that shit. Like, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's probably why I do think sometimes that I want another one, because there's a lot of things I didn't go through with my kid. Like I didn't have to do all of that, but my sister did. My sister traveled everywhere with like her whole house. I didn't. No, that wasn't me. Like, you took one toy that you wanted, that you chose, and that's what you're playing with, and that's it. So that I was pretty good with. But I hear you, because I've had other friends go through that, and I'm just like, all right, just have me a baby. I'll hold the baby. You will get everything out your truck with your husband, and that's how I would help. I did my part. But I understand. And I think that's why I'm a little bit spoiled too, because you know how you said I like my sleep?
Yes.
So for one, my kid was good. He started sleeping through the night since he was like 3 months, I want to say. And from the day he got home from the hospital to the 3rd month, the one who did the night shift wasn't me, it was his father.
You got
So
spoiled.
I have to admit that I did. I have to admit it. I always admit it. I'm like, we're divorced and we're cool today. But I did not do that night shift. No, I didn't do the night shift. Props to that. Yeah, thank you. But props to him for taking the night shift the first 3 months, and then he slept through the night. I didn't know that life. I did not. I have to admit it. I didn't. So I think that's where I'm like, yeah, I want another child, and watch that one not come out like that.
Right. So my oldest was in the NICU for 10 days after he was born.
Okay.
I had a fever during birth, and he ended up swallowing meconium. So they kind of did it as a preventative to make sure that he didn't have any infections. When he came home, that boy slept from 10 p.m. to 5 in the morning.
Wow.
Slept. Wow. And to me, that's solid sleep. Like, that's awesome.
Yes.
When I had my second one,
oh no,
that boy woke up every 2 hours because he was hungry, and he didn't cry. The kid screamed.
He wailed. He was wailing for dear life.
He hollered. And it was like, oh my God. So I think that trauma, I mean, he's my baby now. That's mama's baby.
No, but you traumatized. I could see it in your face.
Yes. So I was like, mm-mm. And then so my sisters have their kids, and one of my sisters, the one that's pregnant now, I've had each of her kids when they were like a week old, 2 weeks old, like overnight. I'm like, I'll babysit. I'll take them. Like, you know, give them to me. So that right there cures my baby fever.
Oh, okay. So that's the trick.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
That cures it. Take one overnight, and it has to be a newborn. Take a newborn.
It has to be.
Has to be newborn.
Listen, we came in here to talk about insecurities, and I'm taking back some baby gems.
Has to be a newborn because that takes out.
How do I fix this fever?
Right.
Borrow a newborn. I'm gonna borrow a newborn and like take care of it and just
exactly.
One night.
But I mean, that's helped me. And so, like, talking babies, that's one of my fears, is that I lose all this weight, get pregnant, and then I'm stuck with the weight again.
Yes, that part I completely understand, because I actually know people who went and got tummy tucks, who went in and did actual procedures, and then they got pregnant. And it wasn't planned. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned.
Yeah.
I think I know 3 people who that happened to. And when I tell you they were pissed, they were pissed. And they're like, I had my baby. I mean, my son is beautiful. My daughter's great. The whole 9 yards.
They're a blessing. Absolutely.
Yes. But then they're like, I done fucked up my tummy tuck. And it's 3 people specific, and I'm not gonna say their names because if you listen to my show, I don't incriminate anybody ever, so I'm not gonna say the name. I only say my name, and my guess. But yeah, I remember like one of them in specific. She was like, I was so ready. I was so done. My daughter was this old, and I was good. I go and I got my tummy tuck. I come back, everything was fine, and not planned. And this was actually with birth control. She got pregnant. And I listen. That's why I'm like, damn, nothing is for sure.
Nothing's safe.
Yeah,
no, my sister, who's a nurse, has told me, and she's a labor and delivery nurse who is pregnant. Yeah. And I had an IUD, and she goes, that doesn't do nothing. She's like, how many babies I've delivered with the IUD attached to the placenta?
Yes. I've heard that. Well, I work in healthcare, so I've heard it too. Listen, nothing is secure. Nothing is safe.
Not even like getting your tubes tied. Not even the vasectomies.
Nothing. It's true. No, it's really true. You hear some stories. And this is why I think like, to your original question, to the original point of our conversation, like with the whole insecurity factor, look at just alone, like in those little things right there, how much insecurity we have to, like if we're on birth control, we have that insecurity, like, damn, did it work last night?
Right.
Did it work? Like, am I pregnant? Do I have to take a test in 2 weeks? You know what I'm saying? So on top of that, we already deal with so many other insecurities.
Correct.
The life for a woman is never easy. I'll tell you that much.
At all. And I've learned that like as a Latina, it's even harder because there's different, you've got your Americanized expectations, but then you've got your Hispanic expectations at home as well, because those ain't easy.
yes. And you and I both being Latinas, we could definitely attest to that. But I find it that we live in a country that has a lot of diversity, right?
Yeah.
And they're people of all different backgrounds and cultures. And I think that as long as you have that touch of your own culture of where your parents came from or where you came from, and you're here bringing it together with the American way or certain American culture, it's so hard to meet both expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to like take, when, you know, with school, for example, our kids, you know, they're going to do remote, let's say. But even for us back in our time, going to school, and if we were to say, like, I just had a live and I didn't know how to, I couldn't remember how to say a word that I knew in Spanish in English. You know what I mean? And my first language, I do consider it, absolutely, it's English. But there's still certain things, you know what I mean?
That tongue tie
something
you.
as small, and something as small as a word, something as small as a conversation, you know what I'm saying? So then there's everything else that we are kind of like, it's like a tug of war, right? Yeah. So I totally get it.
And there's no happy medium, because it's like, how do you satisfy both? And you can't really.
No, you're right. You're right.
So going back to your self-love, one of the things that I personally have started doing is, like you said, learning during quarantine, you learn to do your own nails. I learned how to dip my own nails.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to continue it.
Okay.
I went and got a pedicure once everything was lifted. And that probably was the best pedicure, except for the prices have now gone up. And I'm like, I think I could learn to do that myself now.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't see that one coming.
They raised the prices, and a lot of it they're putting under the pretense of for sanitation or for COVID fees or for this and that. And like, you know, what used to be a $30 pedicure is now like $38. And I'm like, why? You have a plexiglass in front of us and we're both wearing a mask. Like,
right. No, right. Absolutely.
And you should have been sanitizing. So then it makes you question, like, were you guys not sanitizing before and now you are? Like,
no, so they weren't. That's the truth. Let's not even ask. Let's just come to terms. Yeah. Let's just come to terms. They weren't.
So I've started doing that. I get my waxes done once a month. So that's kind of like my pampering. That's my self-love. And this is stuff that I've started doing over the years. And it, you know, and I look back 5 years ago, I didn't care how I walked out the house. You know, I didn't care if my eyebrows were done or not. I didn't care, you know, if I shaved my legs or not. And I've learned that for me, you know, this is pampering for myself, but it's also me loving me. It's like, you need to take care of yourself in order for someone else to not only take care of you, because but in order for someone else to love you. So when I lost the weight, I went through this phase of where I wanted to buy the lingerie. I wanted to start, you know, being able to appreciate myself more. And I'm learning, that's one of the things that I need to get back to now, is to pull out the lingerie and start wearing it again. And, you know, the self-love, getting my nails done, I do them myself. Like, that's my me time. And it's incorporating more me time into my weekly. I'm not going to say daily because it's not going to happen daily, but weekly, I need to start doing that more often.
Yeah. I think that you're on, it sounds like an amazing plan to me, to be honest. I wish I was as brave as you are to learn how to continue doing my own pedicure and manicure, because I'm just not. I told you I went running to see my lady. So yeah, I'm not that patient with myself. That's one thing I suck at, being patient with me. I'm not so much so patient with me. I'm patient with everybody else, but not with me.
Right.
The lingerie, you already know. I'm all for that. For me, I'm all for it. Just me first and foremost, and then some lucky man will get to see it, but it's for me first and foremost. So yeah, definitely try and get back to that and try that out for yourself. And then I think everything else would just, like, it's still a work in progress, right? Because you already know you're on a journey right now, you know, and all of that is impacting, right? Because then there's is what we see on the surface, and then is how we feel
on the inside.
You know, and something that you said, you know, in the beginning, which thank you so much for that. You know, you exude this. You're not the first person that tells me that. I've been told that, not just by fellow women, you know, friends, really close friends, family members, but to be honest, that's why I said, you know, he loves you. He sees you in those eyes. I'm no longer with this person, but someone that I was with, he used to tell me that all the time, that I exude,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't want to repeat exactly what he said because I don't know if he listens to your show. He might, you know.
That'll be
But
random.
you know, very random. I don't know, but he tends to listen to shows. Definitely has listened to
Mm-hmm.
mine, but he used to say that word a lot about me, the exuding.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I realized that people were only able to say that about me very naturally
Mm-hmm.
when I started the weight loss journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you, one of the things you posted recently on your Instagram, a before and after picture, a
Yeah,
picture of you before you lost the weight and a picture of you
yeah,
now. And you can see in just the face alone and in your eyes, you can see the difference. You know,
yeah,
yes, you lost the weight. You can, that's absolutely noticeable. But your eyes, like if you were to cover everything out but your eyes, you can
yeah,
see this confidence about yourself. And it's like goals. Like those are serious goals. I want somebody to be able to take a picture of me and block
yeah.
everything else out except for my eyes and see that confidence.
Yes, yes. And again, back to that point, I can't tell you how many people tell me your eyes are very telling,
Mm-hmm.
Daisy.
Yeah.
Everything you can see in your eyes. And I'm like, no, my eyes are just big. They're like, no, your eyes, they're telling.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling. We can see it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so for you to say that, I'm like, all right, I definitely need to fix my eyes. Like from now on, I'm gonna make sure I fix my eyes and my face because they're telling. But I think that when you do reach that, it's definitely when you just learn how to fall in love with you. You know, I've had my share, you know, where I am today is like I've had my share of relationships and friendships and all that is great. And some of them work out and some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
But the one relationship that cannot fail is the one you have with yourself.
Correct. Right.
And I have to keep reminding myself of that because, like I said, I'm not patient with me. I'm very critical of myself. I go
Mm-hmm.
through my ups and downs. Everybody goes through things. Everybody goes through certain parts of their life, certain phases in their life that they're like, oh, why is this happening to me? You know what I mean? But I cannot be too hard on myself because I'm supposed to be my number one cheerleader, my number one believer. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Yeah.
So I had made a comment the other day about, you know, having my 9 to 5 versus, you know, being a podcaster. And I said, oh, you know, I'm not a businesswoman. I'm not an entrepreneur. I said something like that. And the person I was talking to said, no, yeah, you are.
You
Yeah,
are.
you are. They said, you are. You just happen to have a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, sometimes it's great when you have people like that around you who check you, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because I didn't see myself in a certain light. And something so small like that could really, like, you don't realize what you're saying to yourself. So when you have people around you who tell you, like, don't talk to yourself like that, don't be that harsh on yourself, it's a reminder because I know I have the confidence. I know I am confident, but sometimes I'm too hard on myself and that could really break me down.
Right.
So for you, like, look at yourself in the mirror. You know what I mean? I used to have a small mirror and then somebody told me one day, like, yo, go get a bigger mirror, like get a mirror that makes sense. And you know what? Ever since I got the bigger mirror,
Mm-hmm.
it does, I see myself differently. Like, you have to do that for you. Only you can do that for yourself. Only you. And then
Right.
everything else is going to come out naturally through your eyes or, you know, like
The
me,
face.
the face, the face might do the work. I don't know.
Right. No, and it's, you know, and it also goes to show that insecurities are not only on the surface. It's not only what we
Mm-mm.
see in the mirror. It's also, you know, our careers, our choices in
Yep.
life, things that we do, our parenting skills. You know,
Yes.
there's
All of that.
insecurities about that. So I really appreciate you saying that and pointing
Mm-hmm.
that out, because we are very self-critical of ourselves. I mean, I know I'm constantly, you know, comparing myself to my sisters all the time. I've got one sister who has a freaking master's degree, 2 bachelors, and 2 associates, and she's younger, and I'm constantly like, well, you know, if I had done things differently, and it's like, no, you did things the way you were supposed to for you.
Right.
It's like, you know, I'll get my degree when the time comes. I'll get,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where my career path that I want when
Mm-hmm.
it's my time. It's just not my
Right.
time yet. And I'm learning to be okay with that.
Right. Right. With that piece, I will add this part to it. My sister's actually older than me by 14, 15 years, I think. And she actually, that's something she has definitely expressed to us, her siblings, the younger one. She's the oldest. She struggles with, like, you know, you guys have degrees, you guys have careers, you guys have this, and I don't. And so when it's come to her, it's kind of like, I want to see her win. I want to see
Mm-hmm.
her do better. So if what she wants is a degree, dude, let's do it. Let's sign up online. Let's figure something out. Come on, sis. Like, we could do this, sis. Like, come on, sister, let's do this. And it's like, because if that's what she sees she wants, then that's what we're going to cheer for you to do.
Right.
At the same token, Lisa, let me be very honest. Let me be very transparent. I do have 2 degrees, but I have found, even after all these years in my career, all of that good stuff, I found more love now just in podcasting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that was actually my first love. I got a degree in communications, so it's kind of like a full circle now, to be honest, to be back at a place where I once was and I knew I loved, but I just didn't pursue it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, yeah, you can have all of that, but it's really what makes you happy. And it's really what passion you have. And so if right now it's just not the time to go for that, definitely not to see it as an insecurity, as an, oh, I'm not doing enough for myself. No, your heart has to be in it. Correct. If your heart's not in it, then you're not going to succeed in it. You have to have that passion for it, that want for it. I don't know if I ever said this on any of my episodes, and I probably didn't, but 8th grade teacher, math teacher, he used to embody word for word the movie Stand and Deliver. I don't know if you're familiar with that, with Mr. Escalante, the teacher. And Mr. Escalante used to tell all his students, if you ever can look up that movie, it's a little deep. Yeah. And he used to tell them, you have to have ganas. You have to have the want in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you don't want it, nobody else is going to want it for you. Everybody else can want it for you. You're still not going to want it. It's not going to happen. You have to want that. So I believe there's time for everything, including if one day you do decide, I'm going to go get my degree today. It's never too late. It's never too late, girl. There's no time on that. There's just no time.
It's like I've set a goal. So it's like, one of my biggest goals was by 35, I want to own my own house.
Okay.
So here I am, 35, and we're under contract. So ooh. Yes, I know. Yes. So exciting. Yes. And actually, that's the first time I've announced it.
Oh my God. So, all right. Congratulations.
So we're
Listen, like this.
I know.
Like this.
I know.
Yes.
The whole way, it's like every step that I need to do, like, we're putting the wedding on hold for the house. Okay. And my fiance, one of the things he had told me, he's like, I feel really bad that you're 35 and you haven't gotten the house you wanted. And I was like, dude, I just turned 35 in June. I have a whole year of 35. Like, there's still time.
That's true.
So, it's like one of the things with getting the house, I was like, okay, that's one goal checked off. Now my next 5-year goal is I don't want a 9 to 5. And I'm not saying I don't want to work for someone. I'm okay working for someone, but I want to work for someone on my time. I want to clock in when I want to clock in. I want to leave when I want to leave. If I want to do 12 hours in one day and do 4 the next day, that's mine. That's mine. So that's my next big goal.
Right. I will say this. I like that you said, dude, I'm only 35. I just turned 35. I've been trying to tell myself I'm going to do something before 35. And then I realized to myself, I'm like, why is 35 my cutoff when 35 is a whole year? It's funny because I was talking to someone about that, but I'm happy you said it because that just amps me up even more to remember, like, even if I make it to 35 and I'm not able to do this before I hit 35, I still have 35. So I can really push forward with it and get this part done.
Yeah. Well, like now I'm hustling even more to make sure things get done so that come June 15th next year, when I'm 36, I'm like, I accomplished that when I was 35. It could be June 14th, but I still accomplished it when I was 35.
Right. And then it's like, once that thing is checked off, once that goal, that ultimate goal you have there that you're able to check off, then immediately starts the clock on the next one, right? Because we're not just going to sit back and be like, oh, I can work on that tomorrow. It's like, it's all supposed to be ongoing.
Correct.
I think it's awesome. Congratulations. And we're going to stay so hopeful for this contract to pull through, and you're going to have your home. But even more so to that point, like, see, for me, it's like, I kind of put certain ages as my target, like my goals for, let's say, even my house someday. It's hard to be in New York City and raise a kid by yourself, and I do have the support from his dad and I do have the support from my family, but at the end of the day, he's mine and I have to run this whole household by myself, to then have to figure out plan. Let me figure out a plan to save money, to someday own something for me, for myself. You know what I mean? Or maybe I do get lucky and I do meet a good man who's going to want to own something with me, preferably in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's me. That's me manifesting. That's me manifesting. That's the manifestation piece. Yes, I'm speaking there. You know, like, you know, hopefully it does happen. Hopefully we'll get there. But it's motivating to know that I shouldn't limit myself. And that's definitely, I will admit, I think that's one of the insecurities I still struggle with. Feeling like I'm supposed to be in a certain place at a specific age. And that's definitely a mind trick right there. You have to kind of like fix a little bit. And I'm working on that. I will admit that's definitely one of my insecurity moments there. It's definitely that.
Well, that reminds me of our coach, of Carla. Like, that's why she started the podcast, Shit, I'm 30. And it's because the expectation of what you're supposed to be at 30 years old. And it's like, there isn't a one track fits all for everybody. You know, we're not all supposed to have the white picket fence at 30 years old and be married and things like that. Like, life happens for us when it happens. And I think we need to learn more and more how to accept. And if we want to change it, then we need to put in the effort to change it. You can't sit back and say, you know, well, like with my insecurity of how I look, I can't sit back and say, well, I don't like my stomach, but I'm not going to do shit about it. No, I need to start eating better. I need to start working out. I need to start, you know, appreciating myself and making changes. And that's something that I'm learning. I can't say it's perfect yet.
You know what I just realized? That maybe you could do this for yourself. You know how you said you have the Post-its, and I'm only saying you could do it for yourself because I've contemplated doing it for myself. Right. So like how you put your reminders on your Post-its on the computer. Since I got a bigger mirror now, I've actually thought of putting the Post-its on my mirror. Because that is the first place I do look when I'm getting ready for work or anything, any regular day. I do go to the mirror and I kind of like pep talk myself. Like, today's going to be a good day. You good? You good, Daisy? All right, you got it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe even try that because I've thought about it. Haven't done it yet. I've thought about it.
So one of the things I used to do before I got in a relationship was, you know, the dry erase markers. I would write on my mirror and I would write different I would do different, like either Bible verses or quotes or, you know, like today's going to be a good day or, you know, speak into whatever, you know, whatever affirmation that I read on, I would write it down. And I want to say I've stopped doing that. And that's probably, I need to go back to doing that.
Maybe,
I need to go back to doing that because I was in a different headspace than I am now. You know, like I'm at a point now where everything is going great. Everything is perfect, quote unquote, but I'm waiting for something to fall apart. And it's like, why are you waiting for something to fall apart? And I shouldn't be, but I need to go back into writing on people used to call me crazy because I was writing on my mirror.
No, I mean, that's actually,
it's like, it
first
helped.
of all, we're saving ourselves. Yeah, we're saving ourselves Post-its. So
right.
That sounds like a great idea, to
They're
be honest.
Expensive.
Yes, they can add up. If you don't get it in the office, you know, to come bring it home.
If you're not borrowing them from work.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't have time to purchase Post-its. I just don't. Yeah, I'm not used to that. I think you're right about that with the concept idea of like you haven't done it in a while, so maybe you should because, you know, that little battle you have going on. So I would definitely say, maybe you should try and
I'm gonna do it tonight.
Yeah,
actually, I'm gonna do it tonight. So that's gonna bring me over to my next section. We kind of went off topic. We had a really good talk though.
Yeah,
I really appreciate this. There's a lot of jump drops going on in there.
I know.
So my next segment is my Pero Seriously segment. And this is where I get to discuss and kind of just word vomit on whatever pissed me off this week that you have to sit back and be like, did that seriously just happen? And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, social media. And that's been my moment this week. And that is being taken way too serious.
Okay.
Like people are using it as their diary. People are using it to go off on each other. And then they're using it like if I post a quote, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going through it or that life is bad. It just means that I like that quote. Like, you know, And so that's one of the things this week that I noticed is that, you know, I saw someone that a couple weeks ago, she posted some shit about her husband. And it was stuff that I would have been like, why are you still with him? And then a couple days later, she's posting these lovey-dovey pictures and people are commenting like, yo, weren't you like, what happened? And she got mad because people were reminding her of what she posted. And it's like, you can't do that. Can't do that.
Right. So here's the thing. I agree with you. Sometimes it's taken way too seriously because just because I do post something doesn't automatically have to mean it's about anyone in particular. It could just be a general thought. It could just be something that resonated with me, something that I saw, you know, anything, right? Here's the thing, right? I've been recently on this vibe that unless you trademark the shit, whether it's a color, whether it's a topic of conversation, whether it's an emotion, whatever it is, you don't own any of it. Anybody could just resonate with something, whether it's something that they see, like I said, a color or a person, an idol, a song, anything like that. Anybody could just resonate with something, a piece of it, and be able to relate to it, to speak on it and whatnot, right? At that same token, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that if somebody posts something or is constantly talking about a topic that it's what is exactly happening to them. That's not what it is. I do think that there are things with social media that are taken way too seriously. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. And then it's kind of like, then you have those people who share a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And that's where they should take social media very seriously.
Seriously, correct.
And they shouldn't be posting all that information, all that. Listen, people are going to want gossip. People are going to want juicy information. They're going to want to, oh, did you see that? That's natural for people to do. But then at the same token, if you're there putting out all your business, you know there's people, you know the friends you have, you know how bold they can be. So if you're going to post some dirty shit or some information or some gossip that involves your husband, right? And then here you are with him. You know who your people are. You know who your family and friends are. You know they're going to come at you and they're going to be like, yo, wasn't you just like breaking up with him on Facebook? Like, people are going to say that. They're going to speak on it because there are some people who should take it seriously and not use it as a platform where everybody needs to know your business.
Correct.
And
it's
then
not a
there are
laundry
those
basket.
that are right. And then there are those that should not be taking it necessarily that serious. You know what I mean? It's this way of just trying to find a balance in it. You know, just figure it out and find the balance and don't be too touchy with it.
Right. So like my biggest issue is like one of my biggest things, my Instagram profile is public. Anybody can look at it. Anybody can search for it. Like I'm okay with my Instagram. Like if you scroll through my Instagram, you're not going to see pictures of my kids. You'll see a couple pictures of my fiance, but you're going to see a shit ton of selfies and a shit ton of quotes. My Facebook is private.
Yeah.
And it's private because that's where I post pictures of my kids. That's where I post pictures of my fiance. That's where, you know, our goals or things that we're trying to accomplish in life, that's where that gets announced. I hate to have people come at me on Instagram because I posted a quote about somebody breaking up and finding strength in themselves. And I'm like, I'm happy at home. Like I just thought that would be inspiring for someone who may have broken up with someone else, or you know, I just found that quote inspiring. Like doesn't mean I'm going through it. Like stop judging me on my page. Leave it alone. You don't like it, don't look at it.
No, you're right. And so I think I've said this before multiple times. I have my private pages and then I have my public pages. To your point, I definitely keep more of my son on my private pages because I have there my, you know, my goddaughters, my godsons, my nieces, my nephews, and a lot more family information that I do feel I have to respect their privacy too. And so I keep that more so private than anything. Whereas I do have my public pages for the reason that you could take it however you want. You can make your assumptions however you want to about me or where my life is. At the end of the day, we don't owe anybody an explanation. That's the truth. We don't owe anybody any type of information of why I posted a specific something, or why that quote in itself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There is that saying, if the shoe fits, right?
Right.
But if
And
at
I
that
say it
point,
all
if
the
the shoe
time.
fits, yeah, if the shoe fits, then that's on you.
Right.
That's not on me. If you felt the shoe, yeah, right. I got through. So that's on you. That's not on me. So let's just leave it like that. But I get your point. I totally get your point. Some information just should not go on Instagram or Facebook. And then there's just some that others just take too seriously. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it drives me crazy. And it's one of those things that I'm just like, that's why I'm like, I need a social media detox. But at the same time, it's hard because, I'm promoting my podcast. I'm, on Facebook, I'm part of a group where you constantly are checking in with each other and stuff like that. So it's like, I want to take a social media detox, but I can't because I'm kind of tied down. So it's just,
Right.
One of those things that I saw this week, and that whole husband situation had me like literally shaking my head. And I was like, that's where there's a time and a place.
Yes.
Time and a place for you to share. Like, if you want to share the lovey-dovey stuff, by all means, let the world believe that you guys are happily in love. Go for it. But if you're going to be airing dirty laundry and then turn around and put lovey-dovey stuff, you need to be prepared for the questions that are going to come with that. Because we're nosy. We want to know what the hell happened. Like, did he buy you the flowers to get some makeup? Like, what happened?
What did he do to begin with? I want to know what he did to begin with.
Right.
Like, I'm nosy, Lisa.
Like,
I want to know. Nosy.
I think the post was something was like, and like she tagged him and was like, so-and-so ain't shit and this, that, and the other. And, I got his kids and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck, like you really went off on this man to then turn around and you love him and he's the love of your life. And I was like,
oh no, that's a lot. That's a lot. No, she definitely needs to take it more serious and not post all her information like that. That absolutely keep your relationship. Listen, keep that relationship private. Nobody's saying keep it perfect for whatever everyone wants to see, right? Yep. Because not everybody's going to see it in the same way. But keep it private. That's correct. Your privacy. It's your relationship. I've made some mistakes like that back in the day, especially with the baby daddy drama and the ex-husband drama. And I regret that every single day. Every day I regret that.
And Facebook likes to remind you with your memories.
Yes.
So so what I've been doing is I'll delete it when it comes up in my memories. I'm like, shit, damn, I posted that. Let me delete that shit. That don't belong there. I mean,
no, you're right.
There's things I wish I could change. There's things that it is what it is. But you're absolutely right. I have overshared. One of my best friends told me, he's like, I know you're in a relationship because you're not posting on social media like you used to. Apparently I was going around posting how the world needed to end and how depressed and upset I was and how I wanted love in my life. He's like, I know you're in love and things are going great for you because you ain't posting that sappy shit anymore.
Listen. That's the thing. Like, I kind of do. Well, so I'll be lying if I say, I want a relationship right now because, I dealt with someone for some years now. So I'm not in that space anymore. And I do realize there's a lot more for me that I need to work on. I've established what I do want, what I don't want. I've established all of that. I finally figured that part out. But then it's also the part of you really need to be ready to really embrace it, because I don't know if you've noticed, there's some people who are in relationships, but they're still pretty bitter and salty.
Correct.
About the previous one.
Correct.
And that's who I don't want to be. So correct. I want to make sure that when I'm ready to be in a relationship, that's exactly what people are going to say. Oh, bitch, you're gone missing. You must be in love, because you're not posting about nothing. Right. You're not in an emotion about nothing. Like, that's what I would want, because I've seen too many times, like, people are in a relationship, but the bitterness and the saltiness and all that is still lingering, and you can see it. So I don't want that part. That's the part I don't want.
Yeah, I mean, I know one of the things that I did was for myself, and it kind of goes back to our self-love topic. I was celibate for 3 years. And that in that time frame, I learned to appreciate myself. I learned to appreciate my time. So then when I did break that celibacy, that's when, and eventually I'll talk about Mr. Red Flags. That's when he came into the picture, and Mr. Red Flags.
Red Flags.
So when I got with my fiance, like, that relationship, like from the beginning, it was different. Like we were friends first, and then we knew each other within the circle, and then a friendship developed to the point where at the beginning I was like, what do you want? Like, you just want to talk? Like, what's wrong? And it was like, well, and then my sister was like, Lisa, get out of your head and let this happen organically. Like, let it happen. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. So I give Angelique mad props. I tell her all the time, if it wasn't for her, my fiance and I wouldn't be together, because she was like, get out of your head.
Okay, Angelique, we are here for Angelique's advice. I may need some of that advice too. Let's see.
I love her, but she'll tell you how it is and not think twice about it.
Oh, so she's like me. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
all
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. We'll get along. She'll have no emotion behind it, and she'll tell you exactly how it is, and she'll look at you like, you didn't understand? I just told you.
Is she a Scorpio? What is she?
She is. She's November 8th.
November 18. You see?
Yeah. She is a Scorpio. I love that you called her. I'm gonna make sure she listens to this part.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm a Scorpio too. I get that all the time. I get it all the time. I actually just, that was part of my little rant in my last episode too. Is kind of like, I don't owe anybody anything. Like, what you see is what you get. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say, period. Right. Like, there's just nothing more to it. And, I kind of caught myself caring slightly, giving a fuck about, oh my God, did he just make this side eye to me? Oh my God, did she just make, I actually cared. And I was like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, that's not like you.
Can you send me some of those vibes? Because I need that. I'm too much of a people pleaser.
Send it. No, I'm going to send it, because listen, if you want to do something, if it's your decision, if it's what you believe in, if it's what you stand for, like my job as a friend, as someone, as a virtual friend, whatever you want to call it, right? I see my role to just make sure you're good with it. If you're good with it and you believe in it, fuck then. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to believe in it too, and I'm going to cheer you on. I'm going to be your cheerleader. That's how I function in life, because I used to be very impulsive, and I had to work on that a little bit. It's a gift, and sometimes it's not so much a gift.
Right.
Impulsive because you're ready. Once you're ready and you do it.
Yep.
Impulsive because not so much a gift, because sometimes you don't think before you do it.
Yep.
So, and then you just do it. And so I've had to like work through that a little bit for myself. But at the end of the day, I'm my biggest cheerleader. And if there's anybody who needs a cheerleader, as long as you believe in what you're about to do, I'll cheer you on. But that also goes hand in hand with how a Scorpio is. And I'm not saying I'm a guru in the whole zodiac sign, especially not in the Scorpio. But sometimes shit just comes out of my mouth, and I just say things, and sorry, like sometimes, what can I, my bad, you know what I'm saying? But it just comes out, but I mean it. And this was sometimes with that same passion, I am like loyal as fuck, and I will defend through teeth and nails. Like that's the upside of it,
That's a Scorpio.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely see that.
I wear it with a badge.
That's all that matters. I mean, as long as you embrace it, that's you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to move on to my last segment of this week. Okay. Before I do that, I'm going to thank you for coming on this show and giving us some gems, and definitely having me look deep within myself.
Yes. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on. If you want to go ahead and promote yourself real quick, I'll make sure I drop everything in the description.
Yeah, so you can catch me every Thursday with a new episode on all platforms. It is Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast. I am on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, YouTube. Oh, and iHeartRadio. I still get confused with that one. And you said you're going to tag everything. So I am on Instagram too, Double Dose of Miss D, and the podcast page is Double Dose of Raw Talk. So come follow, join in on the conversation. And yeah, thank you for having me on the show. It's been fun having this whole conversation with you.
I think it was much needed. I think I needed this mini little therapy session.
Yes. Sometimes it feels like that. Yeah.
Definitely. So this week's Palabras de la Semana, I'm going to end it with a quote that I read a couple weeks ago. And I really felt that it pertained to this conversation. and it's that you alone are not enough, and you have nothing to prove to anybody. And this comes from Maya Angelou or Angelou, depending on your accent. And I really like this quote, and I really like that, just the word enough. Enough is, that's all you need to be for yourself, is just you. So I'm going to end on that note. Hey, hey, hey. So I just wanted to start off by letting you guys know that Idea to Launch Academy is going to be launching its intensive course with the one and only Carla Ramirez in the month of September. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast and you're just not sure how to get started, I highly, highly suggest that you go on over to Idea to Launch Academy and get signed up for her intensive course. Carla will walk you step by step on everything you need, from the equipment all the way down to the outlines. She guides you every step of the way. And with her intensive course, you meet with her on a weekly basis, and she's literally right there to guide you through the entire process. So go to Idea to Launch Academy. I will provide a link in the show description so that you can just click on it, get signed up, and be on your way. Pues mi gente, that's all I have for you this week. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to rate and review on Apple Podcasts. And while you're there, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button so that you'll be notified when a new episode drops. Until next time.